Good morning, KU. I am Brett Ivy.
And I'm Michaela David.
And you know, Michaela, today's a very special show because it is filled with Neodesha.
That's right.
That's right, folks. Not too many people know, but we are both from the small town of Neodesha, Kansas, down in the southeast corner of the state. And we'd like to give a quick shout out to everyone who's watching from there. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. So,
welcome.
All right, let's move into the news today. Let's see. Senator Al Franken, a Democrat out of Minnesota, is trying to break up the $45 billion merger between Time Warner Cable and Comcast.
That's
but
right.
he's using a kind of specific website for that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's using Netflix, a streaming service, and he's worried about, how it would be affected by, these broadband internet companies. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely an issue.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Netflix is a huge website. Definitely a lot of people streaming, a lot of people use it itself. But it's kind of a cool thing. Let's be interesting to see how Netflix will be able to kind of help break up that almost kind of sort of monopoly, even though we'll see what happens. But kind of moving on from that, Michaela, how do you personally use Netflix?
I use Netflix, thankfully, for Orange is the New Black. I got into it, finals week last semester, and it was the best decision I ever made.
That's really cool. It's really cool. Orange is the New Black is one of those, just was released straight to Netflix.
That's right, yes.
And that really, I thought, helped increase its popularity, much like my favorite show at the moment, House of Cards.
I heard so much about that. I want to watch it so badly.
What an excellent show. It's really great. Kevin Spacey's fantastic, and you can't see him in public without thinking of him with that southern drawl that he has in the show. So be sure to go on Netflix if you want, if you don't already, and stream your favorite shows. It's a really good time. So kind of moving into sports news now at our university, the Kansas Relays opened on Wednesday. And we've already had 2 winners so far, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, in my class, we have
Grace Morgan.
Grace Morgan, yeah, and she's a freshman. She came up in the 5,000 meter race and was a come behind, and that's a really cool thing to do, especially as a freshman. So we're very proud of her.
Most definitely, and Diana Levy is also won in the hammer throw as well. So definitely doing some big things out there already, and they still have 2 more days over at Rock Chalk Park. And Michaela, this is the first time in 87 years the Kansas Relays has not been at a Memorial Stadium.
I didn't know that. That's neat.
That's right. So grand opening at Rock Chalk Park. Kansas Relays is hosting it. So be sure to go down there and check out the events. Diamond Dixon will be running this weekend, as will Andrea Gubel and Lindsey Vollmer. All 3 were national champions last year.
That's right. Speaking of sports, the Jordan Classic is starting up, and we've had a couple of really great news from them. Will you tell us about that?
Definitely. 2 KU signees will be competing in the event. Kelly Oubre and Cliff Alexander, both top 15 recruits in the nation. Kelly Oubre has absolutely been killing it lately in the high school circuit as well. He was the 2nd highest scorer in this past week's Nike Hoop Summit, where it was USA versus the world, and he was great. Cliff Alexander did okay in that game, but he still had some progress to make. A lot of bigs playing there.
Yeah.
So we're expecting to see big things out of Oubre and Alexander next year. And another potential signee, the number 2 prospect in the nation, Miles Turner, will also be playing. He sprained his foot kind of sort of during the Hoop Summit, but he'll be back in full force, waiting to come out and play in the Jordan Classic. And he's expected to make his decision on April 30th. He's a 6'11" center, can shoot from deep, and really, I'd be really excited to have him.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. It'll be a great addition.
Definitely. Well, I think that's going to do it for us in the A block. We'll be right back with Ben Davis for our interview. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Ben Davis, an executive intern at KU Hillel. Ben, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. We're working the show. The weather is pretty great outside, so I can't complain. All right, so Ben, tell us a little bit about your role as the executive intern at Hillel. What's your organization about, and what's your specific role in general?
So my organization is mostly about just engaging Jewish students at KU, getting them involved, teaching them about Jewish traditions, how to live a Jewish life, but also just getting them together and having fun.
That's great. And now you guys have an event coming up next week as well, an art show, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, Friday the 25th, we're having an art show at the Watkins Museum of History at 6:30. There's 15 students participating, and there's food, raffles, all that kind of good stuff.
That's great. And now what kind of art will will be displayed at this event?
All sorts of art, painting, 3D art, pictures, the works.
That's very cool, man. Very cool. All right, now real quick, we're going to kind of switch topics. The Jewish community has been hurting this week after the shootings at the Overland Park Jewish Community Center. What was your first thoughts whenever you heard the news?
I first heard it when my sister texted me, and I really couldn't believe it. I just got done teaching religious school here in Lawrence, and my first instinct was to figure out exactly what happened. So then I told my president, I'm a member of AEPI, so the president of my fraternity, and from then on it was pretty reactionary, making sure we knew where everyone was, and making sure everyone knew what was going on.
Great. And now you at AEPI had a semi kind of lockdown, didn't you?
Yeah, mostly our national fraternity called us, made sure everything was okay, wanted to make sure we knew where everyone was, and we were just aware of the situation.
That's cool. Now what have been the thoughts of the Jewish community here at KU surrounding the incident? Has it been, have you guys been mourning at all? What's been the main focus here?
Of course we're mourning. The general idea is we're all safe. Everything's under control, and everyone's aware of the situation. We're all standing with the community in Overland Park. We're very close. We have ties to Overland Park. We have a lot of students here that have family or friends there, but mostly we're just here in support.
That's great. Now, kind of moving forward, do you see Hillel or even your fraternity helping out with the Jewish Community Center over in Overland Park to help them in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, actually one of my fraternity brothers, Alex Brown, has organized a Do Jewish movement. It's kind of a support during the memorials. There have been talks of protests and things like that, so just showing our support in a very passive way. And just in general, I think one of the first things I heard after things settled down was, let's raise money, let's go over there and volunteer, let's just be open for whatever support we can give.
That's great. And do you think maybe your position will help kind of bring awareness about maybe the Jewish community on campus that not too many people know about?
Definitely. In my position, I have a close relationship with the executive director of Hillel, and one of the first things I did was email him, ask him what we could do, kind of be that liaison between my fraternity and Hillel and the Jewish Community Center, as well as just the Jewish community here at KU in general.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for being with us
Of course.
this morning, Ben.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Tim with sports.
What do you mean? What do you mean my mocha's not here? I'm Ben Allen, seriously. Where? What about here? Is that better? Oh, now my arm's disappearing. Obviously, this is even worse. Oh, I look good. I look real good. Make sure you tune in on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. to listen to me and a bunch of other sports guys tell you what you've missed and give you a little bit of an inside perspective on some of the athletes and basically what we're thinking. Make sure you tweet at us at 3InKey on Twitter. I don't know where else you would tweet at us, but you should do that because I'm lonely and I need friends. Please follow me, Ben Allen Sports. It'll make your day better. Probably not. It'll make mine better though.
Tim Cornell here, your Good Morning KU Sports Spurt. The Kansas City Royals got their first sweep of the season by defeating the Houston Astros in 3 games on the road. These 3 victories moved them to 7-7 on the season. The Royals will look to get revenge on the Minnesota Twins in their next 3-game series at home, starting tonight at 8:10. The Twins swept the Royals in a 3-game series earlier in this young season in Minnesota. The NBA playoffs will tip off tomorrow night with 8 intriguing matchups. The Oklahoma City Thunder will have a tough matchup in the first round as they play the Memphis Grizzlies as the Thunder look to get back to the finals for the second time in 3 years. The Thunder lost to the Heat in the 2012 playoffs 4-1. The Thunder will begin their march towards the finals tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. Now we have a special treat from Good Morning KU Monday host Farzin Vesuvian, who did a package on a club on campus you might have never heard about. Let's check it out.
Hand wrap, gloves, punching bags, gear, and action.
Perfect. Don't let him wrap you up. That was good. Woo! Nice right.
As the KU Boxing Club comes close to completing its 2 years of existence on campus, the club was recently recognized by the United States Intercollegiate Boxing Association.
To me, that was cool because that solidified our claim of actually being a real boxing club. We're certified as we're nationally known now. You'll see we're an actual boxing club. So that gives us the real option that people can compete if they so choose to, on a real level.
The KU Boxing Club participates in tournaments and in competitions, but it also serves another purpose, helping students get in shape.
Boxing is a total body workout. You burn a lot of calories, you're strengthening your core. I mean, it pretty much works every muscle in your body. You know, the club's growing, we're fitness-based. If people want to learn to fight competitively, we'll help them out with that route. But definitely just come and just learn something new, the sweet science. That's why they call it that.
The KU Boxing Club meets once a week for 2 hours. The crew practices technique every time, but as always, club members leave practice with a stronger body.
So I'm wide open.
Farzine Vesugian, Kansas Media.
Welcome back. I'm Sam Harms.
And I'm Thompson. Here is your Friday news.
An avalanche on Mount Everest has killed at least 12 Nepalese guides and left 4 missing. Survivor Dawin Tashi has said the guides went to fix the ropes to continue climbing. However, the path was unsteady and the avalanche suddenly came down on them. This has been one of the deadliest disasters for the area.
South Korea's ferry disaster is focusing on the sharp turn it took just before tipping. There are nearly 270 people missing, 28 dead, and 174 survivors. One of the survivors, a high school vice principal, who had been the leader of the 323 students on board, committed suicide. In his suicide note, he said he felt guilty for being alive while there were students still missing. He was found hanging in a pine tree.
One of the most trafficked mammals is one you may have never heard of. A pangolin is a rare scaled mammal about the size of a house cat and could be described as a walking pine cone or a tiny dinosaur. It is said that they could go extinct before people ever realize they exist. The reasons they are being trafficked is because of their scales, which are used in traditional medicine. Their blood is seen as a healing toxin, and their meat is a high-end delicacy in China. No one knows how many pangolins are left in the wild.
A South Carolina woman was fatally shot Thursday afternoon in the front seat of her friend's car. Her friend's 6-year-old son was sitting in the back seat, where he found the loaded gun and fired it through the victim's seat. Police have not yet released who the gun belonged to.
In Florida, a 16-month-old baby was smothered to death by his father because the child wouldn't stop crying and the father wanted to play video games. Cody Weingart has been charged with third-degree murder and child neglect and is being held without bail.
Kansas City police have a man in custody for the recent highway shootings. Police will release more details in a news conference later today.
Evidently, Miley Cyrus can stop. The singer was just hours away from having her concert at the Sprint Center in Kansas City when she was hospitalized for a sinus infection. Since being in the hospital, she has suffered a severe allergic reaction to the antibiotics. She remains hospitalized in Kansas City, and her tour is on hold until further notice. And that will do it for your news. And here is Jade Daniels to tell us about the weather. Jade, what's it like out there?
Hi, Sam. As you can see, it's a beautiful day today in Lawrence, Kansas. Not a cloud in the sky. It's actually right now around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's looking to warm up throughout the day with a high of 68, 69, and tomorrow's even better news. It's going to be around 77, 78. Not a cloud in the sky. It'll be a little bit windier tomorrow, but still, great weather to come out, support your track and KU relays, take a nice little stroll in the park. Throughout the next week, we're going to have some isolated thunderstorms, but it's still going to be in the 70s, so nice and sunny throughout the week. Bust those shorts out, but don't throw away the umbrella yet.
Sounds great. Thank you for letting us know what the weather is, and that's all we're going to have for today, so we'll see you next week. Thank you.